So generally with HEX, typically no. And the reason for that is effectively –
What's HEX?
What's HEX? HEX is effectively a student loan that you can get from the government.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of HEX?
There's no such thing as HEX debt in Australia.
Help, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be
He
HEX.
walked right into that and I'm just winding him in.
Yeah, I thought you were just trying to get me to elaborate more.
No.
Well, when I went to uni, it was HEX.
Oh, you're old.
Showing my age a little bit there. So now help, which I think they just changed it to try and make it more palatable for people. But yes, help debt. So effectively, that is what you can borrow from the government to then study at university or other sort of tertiary places as well. So the loan on that or the interest they charge on that is just at the CPI rate, okay? So it's effectively inflation, okay? So the way to sort of think about that is it's essentially the cheapest.
Or the lowest of wage price index.
Yeah.
Like it's cheap indexing. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. It's the cheapest form of interest that you'll ever pay on a loan is probably the key takeaway from that, okay? Now, investing, stereotypically, as we sort of saw earlier in the episode with VDHG, I think it was the last 5 years, was it? Or 8 years?
8 years.
8 years. It's done 8.3% in terms of return.
Yes, before tax.
Before tax, Okay, so yes, you do need to account for that as well. But that is going to be above the inflation rate. So you would have been better off, say, if you had an extra $1,000 to pay on your to either put on your HEX debt or to put into VDHG, it would have been better to put it into VDHG in that example. So generally with HEX, unless you're trying to increase your borrowing capacity, which sometimes that can make sense because you might have, say, $5,000 left or $10,000 left, your mortgage broker might be like, look, just clear that before we borrow to get into the house. That often can make sense. But from a pure sort of numbers play, typically you're always going to be better investing money over the long term versus paying off HEX.
Yeah. So help debt aside.
I keep saying HEX, don't you? Help debt.
I'm trying to just bash it out of you.
No, that's fine. It out of me. Yeah.
So help debt aside, I think let it ride, but in conjunction with strategy around the mortgage broker. But once you got the house, I think, and I won't get into it now, but there's a heap of reasons why you would pay off your debt. Actually, I will quickly. I think the reasons that you would pay off your help debt are you've met all your other financial goals. So you've got the house, things are going along. There could be a servicing thing while you have to pay it off. So you've either met all your goals.
Psychological is another factor as well. I deal with a lot of clients talk to me about that. They just don't like having the debt hanging over their heads. And even though sometimes it doesn't make mathematical sense, psychologically it does because it's a weight on their shoulders.
So in Sort Your Money Out and Get Invested, this is half the reason I write these books. So I've got a reference because I know in my mind I wrote a concise thing about it. So I can just pick up the book. Page 36, when you might pay off your, and this is what I did in this book, HEX/help debt early.
I think to be fair, if we go back to the question, they wrote HEX as well.
They did. Oh yeah, they did.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But in the newest book, I think I only record help.
Yes.
I said, in my somewhat professional opinion from my past life as a financial advisor, I believe you could consider paying off your HEX/help debt early with voluntary repayments under the following circumstances. So we all know that you will pay mandatory repayments.
After a certain income level.
After the threshold was like 60 grand or something.
I think it's about 60 now, yeah. They just increased it recently.
1, you have a small amount of debt left relative to your overall situation and the repayments are affecting your borrowing capacity for a mortgage, which is what we said. You have an employment relationship that allows pre-tax salary sacrifice of help debt, voluntary repayments. That's going to be niche, but there could be a reality if you're a non-profit or something where they do let you salary package. Because voluntary payments for help debt, friends, they're post-tax. But if there's a way that you could do it pre-tax. And the third way, you have met all your other short-term and medium-term financial lifestyle goals and you want to swing back around and clear the debt for housekeeping and to free up withheld amounts being taken from your pay.
So for cash flow reasons.
Yeah. And I just want to.
Yes, which is another big one.
Now, depending on the size of your help debt.
So really on that then, so mathematically, other than really the salary packaging ability, which some niche employers will allow, it's not really going to ever make sense.
No. But what I would say, you might live in a reality where you have a large help debt. Call it 150 grand. We need to know that from an estate planning view, right? So if you've got your HECS and help debt over here of 150K and you've got 150K over here on your offset account, by paying this loan off, right, tomorrow with 150K lump sum, there is a risk that you've wasted that money in terms of estate planning.
Yep.
Because, or even if you were paying an extra $1,000 a month over here, when you die, your help debt dies with you.
Currently, yes.
Yeah, currently, for now. It doesn't get clawed back by the estate, your spouse doesn't have to pay for it, all that stuff. So as a broader estate planning thing, I would rather you have that 150K sitting on your mortgage offset, potentially, because if
you're likely going to get a better return as well.
Well, but if you died tomorrow and you'd already cleared your help debt of 150K, the estate ain't getting that. But if you died tomorrow and the 150 grand was on your offset, the estate would get that. Now, that's very niche, and I'm not telling people don't pay off your help debt, but it's just a consideration for potentially large amounts of help debt. If we do have the cash and we're comfy with it just coming out. So that's what I would say there. Now, back to the cricket. The questioner was talking about what you talked about. If your mortgage rate was, say, 5% and the investing return over here was 9%, they call that, arbitrage. And that's the difference between 5% debt, 9% investing. We know that 9 is higher than 5. So we've got an extra 4%. But it also depends on what your tax rate is.
Yes.
Because by paying down and this makes more sense when mortgage rates are lower. Mortgage rates were 9, 10, 11%.
To invest, you mean?
Yes.
Yep.
It makes more sense, when mortgage rates are lower. But it is also a risk profile thing. Like, you're allowed to say, I just want to pay off my mortgage and get a guaranteed return of that mortgage rate.
Yeah.
An interest saved of 5%, even with an offset account, that 5% of interest saved is also pre-tax interest saved, where the rate earned on the investment has to still be taxed.
So the interest saved is post-tax then, technically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it actually is helpful.
Yes,
very much so. You're not paying, it's an inverse relationship of earning interest in a bank account and paying tax on it.
That's right. You get the 5%.
Yes.
You get a 5%.
Yes.
Yeah. You get the headline rate, if that makes sense.
Hey, it's Glenn here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.